Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So there is this Canadian young man who actually came out online to say that Kamala Harris is doing identity politics. Why? Because she has black descent, and she's of black descent, and at the same time Asian, and and also a woman. So a lot of people want to vote for her because she is black, and also is just going around and being saying disrespectful words. The video, he has actually taken it down, and he came out to render apology, saying that he did not do his research very well and he made a very big mistake, that he is very sorry. I am not telling you all how to accept the apology, if you are going to accept and if you are not going to accept. But I am no longer a fan of apology, and I do not care when people come out to apologize, because there is something that we are supposed to understand. When people come out to say something about you, I want you to understand that first word they say, whether out of anger or trying to provoke you, right? They actually meant that. Coming up to retract that word, it's like, yeah, I already said what I said, but do not forget, they actually meant that thing they said. They might come up to say sorry. If you want to apologize, it's okay. But I do not care anymore, right? You all are so quick to come out online without making your research to disrespect people, because you can say, because you have camera, right? Now, I keep telling them this. You cannot come online to make a mess of yourself and you expect us to jump on you and tell you that we're forgiving you. Let's get into this video.
Better. Apology not accepted. You did what every other white person and person of color that does not live in this fucking country did. You inserted yourself into something that you are not a part of, that does not affect you really at all. Your hot take wasn't a hot take. It was disrespectful. It was degrading. It was racist, and it was sexist. And all that shit could have been checked if you would have done a simple Google search like you say you do. For a person with a college degree, you didn't do no fucking work? Isn't a marketing major all about researching? You didn't do none of that shit, and now you want to come in here and say, I'm taking accountability for myself. No, you worried about your following. You worried about the goddamn honey not being sold anymore at that high-ass price. Yes, baby, we know you got a silver spoon in your fucking mouth. You had the nerve to talk about a black woman. You said it yourself, you didn't do no type of research. You just ran at what everything on the right wing had to say about, which puts you in the right fucking place. Right with them. Saying that she wasn't intellectually prepared for this. She's a fucking district attorney. She's a senator. She's a fucking vice president. How the fuck can she not be prepared? She's more prepared than Trump was. I'm sorry, still is. See, your hot take, it wasn't for anybody but your followers. See, the best way to get a following here on this app and for people to continue to watch you is to attack a black woman in any form, way, or fashion. So you are no different from anybody else. I don't accept your apology because I think you're intelligent enough to do the fucking homework before you make a goddamn video. Which means in my eyes, that shit was on purpose. So like I tell everybody else who is white or POC who decides to disrespect Kamala Harris and black women at the same time, you can kiss my whole entire black ass. Be better.
So I wanted to come on here and address a previous video that I posted, a video that has now been deleted for obvious reasons because it completely missed the mark in every single possible way. And the reason why that video was so poorly received is purely because of me. It was poorly researched, it was poorly articulated, and the reaction is now completely understandable. And there are some specific things that I wanted to correct, because I'm not going to just delete the video and move on when it did upset people. And when I'm constantly talking about accountability, I'm going to hold myself accountable as well. So the first thing that I said in that video that I'm so disappointed in myself for saying is I said that Kamala Harris's campaign is mostly centered around identity politics, particularly her identity as being the first woman president. And the reason now why that was such a stupid comment is that it is factually wrong. And after spending the day talking with people who have made videos about my video and watching videos for myself through a different lens, I now see she actually hasn't mentioned that one time. And this is so disappointing for me to know and to realize and admit that I adopted a right-wing talking point to the point that I actually thought it was true and then perpetuated that as if it was a fact when it is irrefutably wrong. Kamala Harris hasn't even mentioned one time the fact that she's a woman, and that is something that has been projected onto her by other people. And I'm so disappointed in myself for saying something that is just literally not true. I think part of it was maybe I was projecting the fears from Hillary Clinton's campaign, where that was the focus, and Kamala Harris's is not. It's completely different. And she hasn't made that the focus at all. So I want to apologize to everybody for using my platform to repeat something that I can now see was literally just false. And the reason why I'm so specifically disappointed in myself for that comment is that I've never thought of myself in my entire life as somebody that has a sexist bone in my body. I have 4 sisters. Every single adult friendship that I have is with women. So it's not been something that I've mentally taken inventory of before. So now to realize actually that I clearly had a bias, because that is the only way that a factually incorrect statement like that could have been adopted in my mind as reality, shows that I do have biases and things that I need to work on. And I absolutely will be taking time outside of this video to realize why that happened and make sure that it never happens again. So the other specific thing that I said that I do want to hold myself accountable for is I said something to the effect of, if Kamala Harris hasn't done the intellectual work on picking a specific policy, she could be in a scenario like a debate where she's backed into a corner and doesn't know what to say. The choice to use the words hasn't done the intellectual work, while although I had no malicious intention behind it, I can see was a completely idiotic statement to make, and I need to be much more careful when I choose my words. I took a very narrow-minded view of her campaign and saw that there were no policies listed on her website, when in reality, she has spoken about many policies. And when she does, they're reported on by so many news outlets, it probably isn't necessary to have them on the website anyway. And I'm sure at a certain point she will. And to imply, which was not my intention at all, but to even imply that she's not working hard is ridiculous. And I fully recognize she's probably currently working harder than anybody else on the planet. And there's immense amount of pressure on her. And she's in a very unique situation where she's only been doing this for a month. And I fully regret my choice of words when speaking about that topic. And the other reason why my video rightfully angered and upset so many people is because of the factual reality of our society is that women are held to higher standards than men, period. And people of color are held to higher standards than white people, and women of color are arguably held to the highest standards of all. And that's true in families, in relationships, in school, in work, and in politics. At every single level, it's true. And if you need any proof of that, we can literally compare Obama's presidency to Trump's presidency. Had Obama lost an election, denied that he lost the election, and then encouraged his supporters to invade the Capitol, to override the democratic process, and take over the government violently, does anyone actually deny the fact that he would have been eviscerated viciously by Fox News and by Republicans? He would have never lived that down. He would have never gotten away with that. And he was criticized in his presidency for the color suits that he wore because they were grasping at straws. There was nothing else they could criticize him for. And then we have Donald Trump, someone running, who actually did that and who got away with it. Can you imagine if a woman did that? How crazy the media would have made her out to be? But somehow he still retains his image as being a strong, competent, intelligent leader, which he is not. He's a crazy person. And I am so sorry that my video could have come across in any way that I would ever support him in any way, shape, or form. And I want to preface this by saying I in no way am excusing the stupidity that was my decision to post that video specifically at this moment in time. And my original intention behind the video does not matter as long as the outcome was negative, which it was. But I just want to provide a little bit of context as to what my mindset was at the time, so you can hopefully understand why I was initially so defensive and confused by the backlash. I'm a marketing consultant, not a political consultant, clearly, but we are specifically trained to be brutally honest, even at the expense of possibly offending the client, because to not do so is considered a disservice to them. So before I filmed that video, I did some shallow research that should have been so much more thorough. But I looked at the polling of the swing states, and I noticed that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are in statistical ties within the margin of error of every single swing state. And when I combine that with my understanding that pollsters have historically underrepresented Trump voters in the past, and also the fact that the Electoral College structurally favors Republicans. I was actually worried, and in my own stupid, twisted mind, and I understand it was dumb and it came across as dumb as it was, but I thought I was sounding the alarm and possibly bringing up a topic that could help improve her campaign, which is adopting some stronger, more progressive policy positions like Bernie Sanders. And that's ultimately the reason why I didn't post a video on Donald Trump, because I don't want to help further his campaign in any way. That is also just not the side of the internet that I'm on. I'm on Kamala Harris TikTok, so I naturally felt more compelled to speak about that. And the fact that the race is close is not only common knowledge to every single American, and you do not need to hear it from me, but it's actually further reason why I never should have filmed and posted a video that could have been contorted or used as ammunition to not vote for Kamala Harris, who is ultimately and obviously who I would vote for in a race between her and the alternative being Donald Trump. And I do want to genuinely thank everybody that held me accountable both publicly and privately, and specifically to the people who were hurt by my video, but still took the time and had the patience to speak with me in so much detail and give me the space and the grace to understand something that I should have understood and should have never happened to begin with. I'm extremely grateful for that. And ultimately, I do not believe having a social media platform is something I'm entitled to. I think it's something I have to continually earn. And I absolutely will be putting checks and balances on myself and my content to make sure a mistake like this never happens again. And to the people who are genuinely disappointed in me, I'm genuinely very, very sorry. So based on my objective analysis, I believe that Kamala Harris's campaign is built up.
Part of why I was so annoyed by this video yesterday is because he uses the phrase objective analysis when he talks about his terrible opinionated video. Because objectivity implies no implicit, racial, emotional biases present in the analysis. Analysis implying that he's taking data and he's analyzing it, but he doesn't do either of those things. The evidence he uses is just anecdotal, personal information that he's interpreting using his emotional, implicit, racial, white man, Canadian bias. And he did the one example I hate the most, which is the idea that black people only care about Kamala because she's going to be the first black female president. And he also starts the video off by talking about how, even though he's Canadian, he wants to make this video because he knows how important American politics are and how it affects the rest of the world. If it's so important, why didn't you bother learning about American politics before making the video? Why didn't you do a lick of basic research? And it bothers me to my core when I hear a white man say objectivity when they're talking about their stupid opinion. Because white men are some of the most hardest to understand other people's emotions, hardest to empathy, hardest to understand their own implicit biases, racial biases, emotional biases. So of course, when this white man decides to go ahead and talk about it, it's something that it doesn't explain anything about Kamala. It just shows how he interprets Kamala and black people as a whole. And it's not good looking. It actually looks really bad. It looks like you have some huge anti-blackness to unpack. This type of arrogance is so typical in white men, and that's why it's dangerous to have white men ever at the forefront of any discussion and when it involves people of color, black people, marginalized groups in general, because white people, especially white men, have the hardest time building empathy, emotional bias deconstruction, implicit bias deconstruction, racial bias deconstruction. White men are the ones that have the most work to do, and they're always the ones that do the least while claiming the most. And I wouldn't even trust this guy's opinion even if he had a master's degree in American politics, because again, white men have the hardest time deconstructing, and they have the hardest time understanding that they have a lot of biases. And this video is a prime example of that.
So the next issue with the blank slate strategy is the only reason it's even remotely effective is specifically because she is solely relying on identity politics. And although I completely understand and respect the excitement associated with nominating the first woman president, the first black woman president,
I don't think she's running an identity politics campaign at all. But I do think that her identity factors into the excitement. And it's not just that she's a woman, a black woman, or a black Indian woman. It's actually the fact that she's younger. I think that they have actually expertly not played this like, you have to vote for me to break the glass ceiling type shit that Hillary Clinton was doing. But I do believe that those factors that we, use the shorthand, she's not Biden, to describe are major players in her immediate boost. She surprisingly has not done any of the fucking awful Hillary Clinton style identity politics campaigning, which have proven not to work. Joe Biden also never really did that either. And, because he couldn't, because he's like a 80-year-old racist. But I don't think that she's like being like, oh, I'm going to be the first black South Asian American woman to be president or blah, blah, blah. I don't think she's saying that. But I do think that the campaign is currently relying on the difference between the juxtaposition between her and Joe Biden.
I'm an entrepreneur, so in the beginning, I was very interested in Pe0ple's videos because I liked the way that he broke down why certain brands' products were not being communicated properly to consumers, or why their products were not moving off the shelf. And I'm realizing that he did not realize that he was not the consumer for Kamala Harris because he's not American, he's Canadian. And you exist within the context. Context matters. Here's the thing. I don't understand Canadian politics because I don't live in Canada. I'm not Canadian. He does not understand American politics because he's not American and he does not live in the US. I don't understand French politics because I'm not French and I don't live in France. And you might be like, okay, yeah, Skylar, but some of us can read. And so we can figure out what's happening with the politics in that country. Yeah, you can, but you do not understand the finite details unless you're living within the US because they don't impact you directly. Let's use an example. Universal healthcare sounds amazing. You know a country that has universal healthcare? Canada. Canadians, how's that going right now? Finding primary care doctors, getting basic health needs taken care of. It sounds great. As Americans, we hear this and we're like, oh my gosh, we're so happy to you, universal healthcare, incredible. There are so many Canadians that are not able to go to the doctor right now for very simple things. They're not able to get primary care doctors. And that's something that us Americans, the only reason I know that is because one of my best friends lives in Canada and she works in healthcare. Otherwise, I would have no idea. Yes, I've heard some things about it on TikTok, but I would not know the exact ways that that impacts a person's life because I don't live there. I'm not existing within the context. And while we may be neighbors, we're not the same freaking country. Of course, Canadians are not going to see Kamala Harris's ads on their television. I mean, she's not like, hey guys, vote for me. Although I feel like Canadians would definitely vote for her, so that's unfortunate. But to insinuate that her entire campaign is hinging off of solely her social media is crazy. And it goes to show that Pe0ple is perhaps not fully understanding who Kamala Harris's consumer is. And again, it's not him. It is over 300 million people who, not all of them are on this app. Okay? Some of them are getting their news, their political news, from journals, from the news, like on TV. Some of them are watching on YouTube. They are spread across many different ages, across 50 different states. So many backgrounds. We're not all on here. Those of us who are on here, we understand social media. Like, we're laughing at the coconut, we're having fun, we're being cheeky, like we're like very demure, right? But not all of us are on here right now. And I'll say this one last thing. Talking about her race, her gender, and how she's using both to like move her campaign forward, yeah, that is playing into the right's agenda. That's exactly what they want. And see, you would know that if you knew more about American politics and the nuances, the finite details, the way that it exists within our context. I think that more people should stick to what they know. Stick to what you know. I too own a food business. I own an olive oil company. Olive oil and honey were very, 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 very similar. Ancient foods, okay? Only reason I'm here making this video right now is because I'm American and I understand things because they impact me. right? Otherwise, like, I talk about olive oil and like silly little fun things. Stick to what you know, okay? And keep Kamala's name out your freaking mouth.
That Be Better guy is a really, really great example of how just because somebody like sounds like they know what they're talking about does not mean that they actually do. People get on here and they speak in a certain cadence and they speak very confidently. And it makes you believe that they know what they're talking about. And it's a lesson that a lot of people needed to learn the hard way, unfortunately, that y'all get on here often and just take people's word as law. You don't do any research yourself. You don't verify any of their claims. You just let them put screenshots on the screen. You don't even, with AI and all the technology we have that you can fake today, y'all don't think to trust and verify. Social media has made people feel a lot more qualified to speak on things than people are, you know, and people just feel like they have to have an opinion on everything and they have to speak on everything. And most of us don't have the range for a lot of these topics. But unfortunately, people don't know how to not stay out of topics that are out of their range. And it is dangerous. It is dangerous that people just consume this information as law and as fact. Y'all have to do your research. You have to just stop trusting random creators online because you like them. I had to catch myself the other day because I saw a creator on here correcting another creator who I've seen on here a lot that I'm, you know, I don't know the girl, but, you know, I've seen her pretty often. And for the most part, when I've seen her, she's been on point. And I almost let my bias of that immediately dismissed the girl who was, you know, speaking against her. And I had to check myself, like, hold up, listen to what she's saying. You know, it is easy when you like somebody and somebody is likable to want to come to their defense and to want to believe everything they're saying, but we have to have better discernment. We have to remember that these people are strangers at the end of the day.
I think there's a lot of parallels to be drawn between the marketing of a product and the marketing of a political candidate. Oh, I'm not American, I'm Canadian.
Be Better, what the fuck is this? Be Better not only misrepresented Kamala Harris in her campaign, but he's also acting like his shit doesn't stink all the way from Canada. But I get it, criticizing a black woman right now is easy engagement. Let's not pretend that Canada isn't the henchman of many of America's problematic policies. And you guys are following us down the housing crisis pipeline as well. Not to mention, isn't this your prime minister in brownface? And I understand a lot of foreigners have the opinion of the presidential election here in the United States. But that doesn't change the fact that you stripped Kamala Harris of her humanity the first chance you got. We get it, America is the empire, but don't try to act like Canada doesn't have skeletons of its own. Canada's doing exactly what America is doing when it comes to subjugating its marginalized communities. Last I checked, you guys were still leading the race when it comes to missing Indigenous women, but you didn't take any of that into consideration when you used your platform of almost 1 million people to disparage Kamala Harris. I did notice you took the video down though. How about you use that marketing degree that you like to talk about in every video and stick to talking about influencers? We have enough problems to worry about in the States right now, and the half-baked ideas from a Canadian influencer is not one of them.
No one is exempt from criticism. Be Better, who is an account that I follow. I enjoy his content, and it's always talking about the downfall of this person, downfall of that person, or whatever. And for the most part, I think he gets it right for the majority of the time. But this last video of Kamala Harris that he did was just so very wrong, and he since has taken it down, and a lot of people have made their think pieces. So I'm not going to sit here and do another think piece about the video. It's just more to let you know that whenever you make videos and put it into the abyss that is the internet, one, it's there forever because people will screen record, download your videos, all of that. But two,
hello everyone, let's talk about Be Better in his video analyzing Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, the backlash that he received for that video, which led to him deleting the video and then posting a follow-up apology video, because I think that all of that was a marketing strategy to improve his self-image and to sell his products. Now wait, Wait, what? I am fully aware that that sounds like quite the stretch. But number one, it's nowhere near the stretch of J-Lo trying to convince people for years that she can say Number two, just hear me out, okay? Because he uses his degree in business to come to the conclusions that he comes to. I have a bachelor's and a master's in social work. I worked as a therapist for many years. So a lot of my education is in human development, psychology, why people behave the way that they behave. Now, if you're unfamiliar, this is Be0ple. And a lot of his content is using his degree in business to talk about the downfall of different creators, influencers, celebrities, etc. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, I haven't watched a lot of his videos on these people because I don't really care who he's talking about. But in the few videos that he has posted where I follow, watch, or enjoy the content creators that he's posted about, I have watched those. And in the videos that I have watched in their entirety, I have noticed two things from Be0ple. Number one, this man does not only clock in, but he works overtime to provide receipts, proof, anything that he can to show why he's come to the conclusion that he's come to. Number two, he always finds a way, whether it's in the video or in replying to comments, to say that these creators are lying to you, they're putting on a persona, they're inauthentic, they're not real, but he's not like that, okay? He's different from these other creators. Remember these two things, okay? Because they're really important to my analysis. In his most recent video that has since been deleted, he talks about the downfall of Kamala Harris and her political strategy. He talks about how the focus of Kamala Harris's campaign has been identity politics, the fact that she would be the first Black, South Asian female president, and that she's counting on people to vote for her specifically because of those things. He also talks about how she hasn't discussed any of her policies, how she can't answer questions on the spot, and her lack of preparation and what she would do if she were to gain office is essentially going to make her lose the presidency to Donald Trump. Now, in his video, Be0ple did not specify which groups he feels like would vote for Kamala Harris just because she's a woman, she's Black, she's South Asian, etc. But I feel like it's not hard to assume what he meant, which is that women would vote for her just because she's a woman, or Black people would vote for her just because she's Black. Now, obviously, those two things have crazy undertones of misogyny and racism. And something that I've noticed that works really well in this app in terms of rage bait is that if you want to go viral because of rage bait, you either piss off women or you piss off Black people. In his video, he did both. Now, anyone who has done even a smidgen of research on Kamala Harris and her campaign, her policies, etc., you would see that number one, she has never once relied on any part of her identity in any part of her campaign. And number two, she's very vocal about her policies and what she stands for and what she'll work for in office. You cannot convince me that Be0ple, who has shown through his videos that he does a plethora of research on the people that he speaks on, that he just missed that. You cannot convince me. Because again, this man works overtime. Doing research on the people that he talks about in his videos, and brings receipts to his videos too, mind you. So you can convince me that he missed that in his research on Kamala Harris, when not even in just her presidential campaign, but in her political career as a whole, she's always been very vocal about her policies and where she stands on issues. I think that it was a marketing strategy on his part to upset specific groups of people, to gain her backlash so that he would have to come on this app and apologize. Now, I understand that that sounds fucking crazy, but hear me out! As I said earlier, something that I've noticed in Be0pple's content, whether it's in the video or in him replying to comments, he's always talking about how content creators are not real, they're inauthentic, they're putting on a persona, but he's not like that. He's real, he's authentic, blah, 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 blah. Saying things like that can only go so far. Eventually, people are going to want to see you put into action the things that you're saying. And so in his apology, he was able to do just that. It gave him the opportunity to show, hey guys, look, I was wrong. And look, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm doing the thing that I said that these other content creators don't do because, again, I'm not like these other content creators. So then in turn, by doing that, by saying, hey, look at me, I'm holding myself accountable, it makes people think, oh, he said that he wasn't like these other content creators, and now he's showing this so that he's not like these other content creators. Maybe I should follow him. Maybe I should listen to him. Maybe I should buy his product. And call it a J-Lo concert ticket because I'm not fucking buying it. I'm not buying it. You want me to believe that after showing that you do gold medal Olympic dives into people and your research on them, that you didn't do that now in the presidential election of all things? No. Because at the end of the day, you do have a degree in business and you talk a lot about marketing and marketing strategies. And the math on this one is just not mathing to me. You want me to believe that in all these other videos, you do the deepest of dives into research. And on this one, you just missed it. Math's not mathing. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the whole situation. Moral of the story, it just does not make sense to me. And I've learned that if something doesn't make sense, it's probably just not true. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
So I wanted to come on here and address a previous video that I posted, a video that has now been
Honestly, y'all, this is not a bad apology. And if you weren't familiar, this this guy does a video about Harris's campaign, and he has a lot of points that were really offensive. He does an apology, but he does everything that you're supposed to do. He took down the original video quickly. He made a response. He addressed everything that he did that was wrong. He named his unconscious bias towards women. He named what he felt like what the context was, basically. He added a little bit of context there, but didn't center it at all there, and ultimately took ownership of, I shouldn't have done this in the first place. All those things are right, but it's also a play out of his own playbook, because so much of his content is around taking businesses down, or talking about the downfall of businesses, almost always women-owned businesses, at least from the videos that I've seen of his. So it is interesting, because he would say, when taking a look at an influencer that had said something offensive and he would talk about her downfall, he would say, these are the things that you should do. And it's like he took a play out of his own playbook. So that just makes it curious. Is he somebody that would have orchestrated all this to show his clients, this is the way that you deal with a crisis? I would hope that he wouldn't do something like that, but it is curious. The other thing is, I'm a big fan of what Francesca Ramsey says, so just go ahead and write a check. I don't think you have to write a check towards Harris, but if he wrote a check for a women's rights or a women's, some kind of a nonprofit that helps women, that would make a lot of sense. I don't know if that's something that he'll do. I'm also interested in seeing what his content looks like moving forward. It does seem heavily targeted towards the downfall of women-owned businesses or women influencers. So I'm curious if that's going to shift at all to be a little bit more balanced. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I did unfollow him after I saw his video, but I don't know what the future of his business and what he's doing here. And I don't know if this is all going to be, oh, this is all just an experiment, because I can see, I mean, we've seen it with influencers before, so I don't know, but I'm curious. Decent apology, not perfect, but at the end of the day, you got to really show people with action to let them believe that you really care, and it's hard to tell in this case.
Hi, so I have a bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in African American studies. I also have a master's degree in journalism. I've covered politics for the #1 morning show in America, and I'm going to tell you why Be0tle's take on the downfall of Kamala Harris is absolute trash. Let's start with his take that Kamala's campaign is running solely on identity politics. Because for the love of God, a woman of color simply living, breathing, and doing her job does not equate to identity politics. I would truly love for you to show us where her campaign said to vote for her because she is a woman of color. And if we're going to touch on identity politics at all, the identity that she is more so marketing would actually more align with age, simply because she does not identify as an 80-year-old man, thus identifying more with a younger crowd and future generations. Now let's move on to where you said Kamala hasn't done the intellectual work. The Vice President of America, a former top prosecutor, she hasn't done the intellectual work. An absolute joke analysis. Now, I would have stitched this video, but it's already been deleted. And so you may want to replace the downfall of Kamala Harris with the downfall of Be0ple. Unless you, Be0ple, decides to do better.
So, hi. I have a doctoral degree in educational leadership, and today I'm going to use to analyze the content strategy of TikToker Be0ple and tell you why I ultimately feel as though social media downfall is inevitable. Now, my intro was indeed a copy of this creator and how he starts every video, and I don't follow him, but you do. You do. You have given this young man almost 1 million followers, a big, vibrant platform that he has used repeatedly to attack women entrepreneurs and women content creators frequently. This and this and this. This man's page is one of the most negative places on Terry Joe's app. It's not demure, it's not classy, it's downright nasty. It's nasty. And this week, he decided to pop out and pop off about Vice President Kamala Harris. I find nothing wrong with his belief that she will lose the presidential election in America in 2024 if that's what he believes. Some people think that, and that's okay. You can believe and think what you want to think. My issue is that his take was not only ill-informed, but filled with falsehoods. Let's start here when Be0ple said,
be forced to take firm stances on topics, and because she hasn't done that intellectual work to decide where she really lands on these important issues, she may end up looking unqualified for the job. So
Kamala Harris is an accomplished attorney, attorney general, United States Senator, and vice president. She is the author of 3 books, including The Truth We Hold, An American Journey, and she has received numerous public accolades for her service and intellectual contributions to the fabric of our nation. While you, Be Better, you curate honey from bees to distribute to a handful of buyers. She has clearly done the intellectual work that you didn't do when you were making this video, because you failed at your research. You failed to even research our vice president in lieu of repeating conservative American bro speak, because you also said this.
Relying on identity politics. And although I completely understand and respect the excitement associated with nominating the first woman president, the first black woman president, the first South Asian American black woman president, and that's something that is exciting and something that will understandably galvanize a certain demographic of the population that will vote for her solely based on that alone, I do not believe it is a substitute for an actionable policy platform that will actually impact the lives of the American people. So it seems like her campaign is relying on the sole fact that people will be so excited to vote for the first black woman that they will be willing to overlook the fact that she doesn't have a true vision for the country. I do not believe that is something that should be relied upon, especially in the context of the United States.
Better did no work with this video, and it shows. This video is offensive to women and black people, and I hope it's black followers, I hope it's female followers, I hope they see this video and do what I never had to do because I never followed in the first place. There is something about the composition of the face and the meandering upward lilt of the voice that I never trusted, never did. The Harris-Walz campaign is genius in marketing and research. Consider their fundraising numbers. Consider their ground game. Consider their numerous gains in polling made in just 32 days. And to be fair, Be Better probably doesn't know any of this because Be Better lives in Canada. And to be fair, his opinion doesn't mean shit because he is Canadian and he has no vote here. But he does have a lot of American followers. I don't know why. When he seems to really dislike American women, hey, you people love to follow folk like him. While marketing professional Sarah J. McCord provides the same type of content but actually backs it up with industry experience and facts. Be Better has almost 1 million and she's not even at 20K. Maybe we can fix that and give a content creator who has experience and knowledge the following they deserve.
So this is all I got from this video. First of all, I am going to start by saying that sometimes we get platforms to people that do not need it. That it's my opinion. Feel free to say yours, right? And then let's get into this. What does he mean by saying that, identity politics? Some people are so curious with their words that they don't even know how it hurts people around them. Now, let me tell us something. It's okay to talk about politics when it comes to, people's politics. You can discuss about politics. But when you decided to get into a politics that I am always of the opinion that when you want to say something about a particular group of people, make sure you come out correct. Make sure you make your research in order to enable you pass information to the people instead of coming to disrespect the people. So now, in his opinion, he is saying that people that want to vote for Kamala Harris are absolutely or probably going to vote because she is the first woman coming up for presidential election. Yes, and she is also Asian, and also she has a black background. So all these are the reasons why people would vote for her instead of the other person. And then went further to degrade and say some disrespectful words about her. Now, let me tell you something. When he apologized, he said that in his opinion, that Why he was apologizing in his opinion. I mean, like if a chance were given to him to vote, that he would at the same time vote for Kamala Harris. That is a lie. And you know that. Now, let me tell you something. You see, when somebody is talking to you or when somebody is trying to analyze something, trying to say something, most of the words, especially when most of the words people say are the first thing are actually what they meant. That is their mind. That is, they have said it. They probably might apologize, but we should always be smart enough to know that are some people's first words. I mean, the words you say to people during a conversation and all that sometimes is not just ordinary words. There are words people should take them and hold them and know that these people already said it and they meant it. Okay, now let's continue going into this, right? He is Canadian, like he said. Why would you come out to say things that you were not sure of, right? Because if you look at his video, I saw the video he made about Drake. I saw the video he made about Mr. Bates and all that. This young man, according to one of the ladies that also, she said this young man he usually does his assignment very well, right? He does his assignment very well and he does it excellently well. Why is it that when he got to Kamala Harris on, he became dumb or not being able to make his research? The truth is that a lot of people think that the best way to get following or to get their channel bubbling, it's when they talk something or say something about Black people or something in connection with Black people. Trust me, their channel is booming. People are commenting. People are sad. People are mad. Why? Because why is it that everybody in this world, people that are not Black, always have something to talk about Black people? Why is that? That the only people everybody got opinion about them, it's only Black people. And only Black people are the only people come out on the internet to upset. Why? Because they will come out and probably react. Because how come it is only just a group of people that is always getting the hit? Do I blame anybody for reacting? I do not blame anybody for reacting. And I also love the way they react these days. Why do I love it? Because now, if you look around, they don't stitch that video. And if it were before, people would be like stitching the video and make the video play a bit. Now they already know how they do it. They look for a way to make it like that. When they stitch the video, you are not making any money from that video. I love it. I love how you people do it. I love how you people do it. You all are awesome, So now, what I am saying is that you all really, I keep saying it, people can really do better. I just cannot imagine mounting camera. See, there is something that as people are growing, there are some, you are supposed to be, you are not supposed to be dumb. As you keep growing, you are not supposed to be dumb. He is trying to tell us that he has the degree, he has his bachelor's degree. See, having the degree does not mean that you are smart, You can go to school and still come out to give, be very, very dumb and unintelligent, give unintelligent messages and all that, right? That you are in marketing does not mean that you really do know it all. See, I love the fact that young men, the ones that did politics, the ones that did marketing and all, everybody's out here speaking. Now, you really do not know what you are. That's why sometimes it is okay to keep quiet, because people that know what they are doing already came out to give their own analysis on what you like, making a fool of yourself, right? So the best I advise you all to do is just relax back in your house, do the content that you know how to do best. Look for a way to create, how do I say that? Yeah, to create, if you are looking for traffic, let the traffic come through your work, not through negative thing. Because in the end, you are getting the hit. The video also, you ended up deleting it. So what was the essence of you coming out to make disrespect somebody? Does that make any sense? Let people vote whom they want to vote for. It is none of your business. You focus on what is going on in your own country. That is the only place you are, because you said you are going to take responsibility because you did not make enough research, right? Next time, before you come out to say anything, make sure you make your research so you come out correct instead of coming out to disgrace yourself. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.